The first piece we used for music was a formation of Pop Goes the Weasel from a copyrighted free website, which all of that kind of the copyright proof is in on my blog. But it was really heavy bass line. It was really really loud, really heavy bass, really fast pace, and it really we challenged the convention of usual horror slash psychological horror music, because normally the horror kind of style music for a title sequence is kind of slow paced, really eerie. But we chose to challenge that concept and convention. And what we did was we had a really loud, heavy bass, and the titles weren't part of the actual action of the film. You went from the film to the titles and back to the film, and we thought that was really effective because it's not been done before. And thanks to after doing audience research and feedback, as you can also see in my blog, some people liked it, some people didn't. But I still feel that we challenged that convention really well, and so I'm pleased with that. The second and final piece of music we used was called Intensive Heartbeat from the same website. Again, all copyright-free material, and you can see the proof of that on my blog. Now, it was kind of used in two parts of the film. The first bit was when in the dream sequence where Scott was being followed, and it was a really kind of high pitch, kind of squeaky, eerie bit of the music, and then it intensifies to a really heavy drum beat when the dream sequence kind of picks up. And we use the conventions of typical horror films, and as in when someone's being followed, you have the really high pitch, really slow paced music, but when they start to kind of run from something or notice they're being followed, the music starts to intensify, which we thought we did really well. And this ultimately means that I think we use the convention of typical horror film music really well, because we had the really eerie moments that fitted with the eerie music, and then when it started to pick up in the actual film, the heavy drum beat came on and it got faster and faster, and then when Reese woke up from the dream, it went back to the high pitch, really eerie music, and we feel that we did that really well. Another important aspect to think about was the lighting. In some aspects of the piece, we challenged the usual kind of stereotypical lighting in a horror film, but at the same time, in some parts of the piece, we use the same conventions that a normal horror film slash psychological horror film would have. For example, during the dream sequences, we challenged the normal horror film convention lighting and had it really bright and eerie, which really went with the high-pitched music and the high-pitched tone, and it actually worked to our surprise. It wasn't our original intention, but it actually worked. However, when there was the sequences where Reese would wake up from his nightmare, or if he was at school, we'd have really low lit lighting to kind of give that sense of compression, depression, kind of isolation. So you get the feeling that Reese is kind of trapped inside his own mind, and that kind of is backed up in the story when you hear an echo of his mind saying the truth will set me free. And the lighting, the fact that it's really dark and dim, kind of backs it up. So we use the convention of a stereotypical horror lighting in that moment really well. But at the same time, when we did the dream sequences and had it really bright, it really fitted with the music, and so we challenged the convention of typical horror lighting well as well. For just general film conventions, there are a lot of, for inspiration for the conventions we use for our actual piece, we took inspiration from films such as Scream and Scary Movie and the Blair Witch Project, because they all have aspects of someone being followed or in a creepy atmosphere, and so they're conventions that we use from the real world and real films. And so I feel we did that really well, and that's where we got our inspiration for our piece, and I think some of that comes out really clearly in it.